Hi, I'm Terry. I've been with Clarkdale since 1972, and today I'd like to talk a little bit about your 8000K service on your car. I know a little bit about cars, so let's have a little look. First of all, when we bring your car in for service, the first thing we do as we're driving in, we check if the lights are working inside, any abnormal noises we listen for, so catch that before we even go on the hoist. Once we're on the hoist, we're going to reset your service indicator light, which is through the MFI. We'll reset that. Once that's done, we're going to come out, check the tire pressure sticker here so we get the right tire pressure on your car. It's more than just an oil change on an 8000K service. A lot of people think that's all we're doing is an 8000 or an oil change, but we're actually doing a lot more than that. Once we get under the hood, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to check the battery. If the eye in the battery is dark, that means the battery is good. If it's clear, we have to check that battery further to see if it's actually going to be serviceable for your vehicle. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to check the antifreeze to make sure that it's going to go to a low enough temperature and it's still in good condition and the level is correct. We'll top it up if we need to. And same with the windshield washer fluid, we will also fill that up. When we first drive the car in, we also check that your washer jets and your wipers are actually working correctly. If not, we will let you know. The oil filter itself on this model is a diesel, and the oil filter is down here. That we would replace right away. The oil cap is over here. We're going to take that off when we do the oil change, and that's the dipstick here. It's very critical on a diesel to use the correct oil. It has to be a low ash oil, synthetic on the TDIs, otherwise it will damage all the particulate filters in the exhaust system, so that's an extremely important item. Okay, while we're underneath your car, we start draining the oil from here. That's the drain plug. And while that oil is draining, because I like to get as much oil out as possible, while I'm doing that, I'm going to check that your belts are all okay, and that's right over here for tension and condition. I'm looking to see that they're all in good condition. I'll check all your hoses, make sure there's nothing about to crack, no leaks from the cooling system. I'll inspect your suspension, I'll look at your ball joints, I'll look at the CV joint boots to make sure there's no cracks, no play anywhere, everything is solid. Check your bushings, check that the subframe is mounted correctly. And then we'll also have a quick look at your exhaust system, because it's often overlooked. If something's broken or cracked, it's much better to catch it now than when you're driving down the highway. Then we're going to go around to the back. We're going to have a quick look at the handbrake lines, connections, hoses, anything in the back that is related to safety. We're going to have it on the hoist, just for peace of mind for you and for us, actually. And after that, we'll then finish up with the brake plug at the front. We torque that plug in. There's normally a cover underneath here that I would put back in place. And then we're going to bring it down and do the tire pressures before we put the oil in. Once we bring the car down partway, now we're going to check the tires and the brakes quickly. So the tires, you always want to check what the tread depth is on. On this model, right now this tread is 10/32 of an inch, which is that's a brand new tire. So I wouldn't have any concerns with that. I'm going to visually inspect it for any cracks or damage to make sure there's nothing that you need to be made aware of. And I'll do a quick visual on your brake pads. And I can see these ones are like new. If they were low, I would definitely warn you so we can do a proper measurement on them, take the wheel off. And a visual check tells us that there's plenty of pad in there. And then we're going to do the tire pressure. On this model, we already checked the sticker at the door jamb. That was 33 foot-pounds. So I would just ensure it's the correct pressure. And this one is. I don't have to top it up. But normally I would adjust it to the right pressure. While I'm here, I always give the shock absorbers just a quick visual check to make sure there's nothing that we have to be concerned about. And then we're ready to bring it down and put oil in. If I had drained the oil out of this car and put the new oil filter in, then I would top up the oil with the correct amount of oil. This one would be the low ash diesel, so you definitely have to use the correct oil on it. We start it up, let it sit for about 5 minutes so we can just make sure the level is correct. And that takes care of the oil change side. At that point, this car being a diesel, only the Passat and the Touareg require an AdBlue additive to protect the exhaust system, and that's in the trunk, and I'll show you where the filler is on this car. Inside the trunk is a little cover that comes off, and it comes out. There's a bottle here that we would take the cap off, and we would fill it up. If your AdBlue light comes on in the car, I recommend go to a dealer. It's much easier for the dealer to top this up because it can get messy if you don't have the right equipment. But you can buy a bottle from the parts that screws on there and we'll fill it. The light will come on, usually it'll give you about 1,000-kilometer warning that you have to fill your bottle. If you were driving a Touareg, the Touareg bottle is at the spare tire itself. There would be a tank cover here and a little cap you would take off, and it has the same filler below that cap. The other thing we do when we're doing your 8K service is we also just confirm that that tire does have air in it back here. If it feels soft at all to me, I will take that tire out and fill it with air so that you won't get stuck somewhere. Okay, another very important part of the service is we're going to lubricate all 4 door hinges. It's very important because if these hinges don't get lubricated, they will eventually seize up, and that's quite a costly repair to replace because they have to be painted and done in a body shop. So it only takes a second, and it's often an overlooked item. And it just takes a second to do. We will also lubricate the hinges on the trunk if it has the type that need to be lubricated. Not every model needs that. This one doesn't, but most of them do. That's an important part because if you don't do that, down the road can be very costly when that door seizes up. Okay, so a couple of final things we'll do is we'll put an actual sticker on your windshield that will tell you when your next service should be done. And at the same time, I'm also going to give your window a quick look over just to make sure there's no bad chips or cracks in there that you should maybe be made aware of for a final road test, and then we're going to give it a little wash. So that's our 8K service completed. It takes us about a half an hour to complete that job on the hoist, and we do our best for you every chance we get. Thank you.